Iran 1953, A Story of Strategy and Survival. Hook. Tehran, August 19, 1953. Low drumbeat, black and white photos fade in. Crowds in the streets, soldiers in jeeps, the Shah's portrait waving above heads. Open quote. Narrator, Tehran is boiling over. Crowds are chanting. Trucks roar through the narrow streets, and the fate of a nation is hanging in the balance. But this is no ordinary street protest. Behind the scenes, a handful of people, far from the dusty bazaars of Iran, are pulling invisible strings. Their mission, secure a vital ally, protect the Middle East from the shadow of Soviet control, and ensure the oil that fuels the free world keeps flowing. This is the story of Operation Ajax, close quote. 2. Setting the scene. Iran before the storm. Post-World War II. Iran was a place of contrasts. On one hand, it was an ancient land of poets, palaces, and proud traditions. On the other, it was a key piece on the chessboard of the new Cold War. Britain had dominated Iran's oil industry through the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, AIOC, controlling not just production, but also profits. The British government saw Iranian oil as critical for its own economic recovery after the war. But in Tehran, many saw this arrangement as deeply unfair. For Washington in the early 1950s, Iran wasn't just another distant country. It was the gateway between the Soviet Union and the Persian Gulf. If Moscow gained influence here, Soviet power could stretch from Eastern Europe all the way to the Arabian Peninsula. The stakes were enormous. 3. The rise of Mohammad Mossadegh. Mohammad Mossadegh was not your typical politician. Aristocratic, Western-educated, and fiercely nationalistic. He became prime minister in 1951 after a wave of popular support. His charisma and reputation for honesty made him the symbol of Iranian pride. Mossadegh's core mission? End Britain's near monopoly over Iranian oil. To the west, Mossadegh was complex. A man who spoke the language of democracy, but whose policies risked destabilizing an already fragile region. For the CIA, the key concern wasn't just oil profits. It was what would happen if Mossadegh's stance pushed Iran into economic chaos and into the waiting arms of the Soviet Union. 4. The oil nationalization crisis in 1951, Mossadegh made his boldest move. He nationalized the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. For Iranians, it was a proud moment. For London, it was an economic shock. Britain retaliated with a global embargo on Iranian oil. Tankers stopped coming. Revenue plummeted. The Iranian economy began to suffocate. As financial pressure mounted, political tensions inside Iran grew. The Communist Tudeh Party gained strength, organizing rallies and calling for closer ties with Moscow. From Washington's perspective, this was the nightmare scenario. Economic collapse leading to a communist foothold right on the Soviet border. 5. Britain calls in America. Initially, the CIA wasn't involved. This was Britain's problem. But as the Cold War heated up, the calculus changed. British intelligence, MI6, knew they couldn't remove Mossadegh alone. They needed American resources, influence, and operational skill. They approached the CIA with a plan. For Washington, the argument was persuasive. Keep Iran stable. Keep the Soviets out. Protect Western energy supplies. In 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower approved a covert operation to replace Mossadegh's government with one more aligned to Western interests. It was given the code name Operation Ajax. 6. Operation Ajax, planning the coup. The CIA assigned Kermit Roosevelt Jr., the grandson of President Theodore Roosevelt, to lead the operation on the ground. His mission was delicate: orchestrate a political shift without direct U.S. military intervention. The plan had several parts: media and propaganda campaigns to turn public opinion against Mossadegh, political alliances with key Iranian figures, including military officers, tribal leaders, and influential clergy. Street demonstrations designed to create the perception of chaos under Mossadegh's rule. Royal involvement, convincing Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi to dismiss Mossadegh legally, giving the coup a veneer of constitutional legitimacy. This was classic CIA tradecraft: subtle, layered, and deniable. 7. The first attempt. Failure in the shadows. In early August 1953, the first phase of the plan went into motion. The Shah signs dismissal papers for Mossadegh, delivered by a royal emissary. But Mossadegh refused to step down. The emissary was arrested. The Shah, fearing for his life, fled Iran. On paper, the coup had failed. Some in Washington thought it was over. But Roosevelt wasn't ready to walk away. He believed the momentum could be regained if they acted fast. 8. The second attempt, turning the tide. Over the next few days, the CIA redoubled its efforts. Paid demonstrators and loyal military units were mobilized. Rumors spread through Tehran that Mossadegh was about to abolish the monarchy. Crowds began clashing in the streets. On August 19th, pro-Shah forces, supported by key army units, moved against Mossadegh's residence. After heavy fighting, Mossadegh surrendered. The Shah returned to Tehran in triumph. Operation Ajax had succeeded. 9. Aftermath. A new political landscape with Mossadegh gone, the Shah consolidated his power. Land reforms, economic modernization, and closer ties to the West followed. For Washington, this was a major Cold War victory. A strategically located nation kept firmly in the Western camp without direct military occupation. From the CIA's perspective, Ajax proved that a well-designed covert operation could achieve geopolitical goals efficiently and with minimal loss of life compared to open war. 10. Long-term consequences. The CIA's view. While historians debate the coup's long-term effects, the CIA saw the operation as a decisive success at the time. It prevented a possible communist takeover, preserved Western access to vital oil reserves, strengthened a pro-Western leader in a volatile region. For decades afterward, Iran remained a key U.S. ally in the Middle East, acting as a bulwark against Soviet influence. Reflection. A strategic victory. In the grand chess game of the Cold War, the 1953 Iran coup was a calculated move, one that secured American and Allied interests in a region critical to global stability. Was it controversial? Yes, but in the eyes of those who planned and executed it, it was a necessary step to safeguard not just oil, but the balance of power in a dangerous world. Open quote. Narrator. In the end, Operation Ajax wasn't just about one man or one country. It was about a bigger picture. A world divided, a fragile peace, and the belief that sometimes the most important battles are the ones no one ever sees.